everybody, welcome to Percussion Axiom TV. This is episode 29. My name is Tom Burritt and I'm your host today. We continue with the Stout Etude from the first book, number 3. Before we do that, a couple business things to attend to. We're going to start with announcements. We've got some really interesting things coming up. Check your local PBS stations coming up over the next several weeks. And you might see this thing called Conspiratory, a company of voices. Check that out. It's going to run during our pledge drives. There's some really cool things that we did. If you remember way back in October, we were mentioning some of that on the show, shared some audio links, but the final product is done now, and you'll be able to see it live on the PBS stations nationally. So I play in a bunch of tunes, and also the Etude Percussion group is featured on there as well with this amazing choir. So I really recommend it. Not even just for the percussion stuff, for the choir stuff. The choir is just unbelievable. So check that out. Check your PBS stations. It's going to probably run between now and the middle of March, somewhere in there. It's called Conspiratory, a company of voices. Now I'll set some links for some of those videos so you can get a sneak preview of what it's going to be like. Definitely encourage you to check that out. We also have the Round Top Festival coming up here in Round Top, Texas, which is a really cool little place between Houston and Austin. It's where I actually started the show. Episode 1 was filmed actually in Round Top, Texas during the summer festival, which is a really nice thing as well. But we have a yearly percussion festival. I don't have time to go into it right now, but I'm going to link it up below. If you're in Texas especially, you're going to want to check this out. There's all kinds of premieres by Paul Lansky, Dan Welcher, all kinds of really, really great things. Third Coast Percussion is going to do a concert, and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm going to link that up as well. It's really exciting, something that we highly invest in here at the University of Texas. Okay, so very soon we're working on some really, really exciting things here that are sort of coming out of this whole interactive learning thing. So we're really looking forward to kind of what's next with that. We could have a big announcement here soon on something that's really, really exciting. But before we do that, I need you guys to give me some feedback on the whole process. I know we've had trouble with comments and, you know, iWeb's messing things up, MobileMe's messing things up, YouTube's limited this way, so we're actually going to post this to tumblr.com. I'll link that up. Let's focus all our discussion and comments there. I'm trying to fix this, and in the limited time that I have to do this with everything else I got going on, I'm trying my best, I promise. So anyway, I'll leave a link. Let's keep all the focus of the following episodes on Tumblr. We'll see how that goes. We're kind of making this up as we go, because we've never done before, you know, so we're doing the best we can. And but let's focus on tumblr.com. But I need feedback on how you think it can be better outside of the comments thing. I'm aware of that problem. But anything else you have for me would be greatly appreciated going forward as we look into some really cool, exciting directions. Okay, a couple shout outs real quick. New blogs are showing up. Twitter use is going, you know, it's getting really busy with, I know some people that are watching the show. It's really, really interesting to see how that happens. And big shout out to Jeff Sass, who just started a blog. I'll leave that link below. Check that out. He's actually posted a video of him playing some of this stuff, which is fantastic. So big ups to you, Jeff, and we'll, everybody go check out his blog and subscribe, and let's support him in that, because he's doing some really cool things. All right, so we need to get to business here because there's lots to do. So today's axiom is what composers do. Okay, we've learned the first 14 measures of this. And so really, in most pieces, right, the sort of building blocks of that particular work is right there in the first part of it. And so today we're going to spend time talking about what Stout does past that beginning point, how he starts developing these ideas, because that's what great composers do. And the more we understand that as performers, the easier it is to learn a piece, the faster it is to learn it, the faster it is to remember it, the easier it is to remember it under pressure, because we have a fundamental working knowledge of what's happening theoretically and compositionally. So we're going to go through this really, really quickly in sort of a flurry because we don't have a whole lot of time. But here we go. So today's axiom is what composers do. So we're going to focus on measures 15 all the way through 37 for next time. And we're going to break this down. Okay, so continue numbering your measures starting at measure 15. And you'll notice that 15, 16, and 19 are essentially the same measures. Okay? And so we're going to break this down real quick. Stout loves to do this, especially in his earlier music and his etudes, splitting up different patterns in the hands. So you'll see in the right hand he's got those 3 notes that sort of cycle back and forth. this same pitch set is actually in the opening measure. Or sorry, beginning of measure 2, the downbeat of measure 2. What he does is he just sets it down a half step. So that's where he's getting these pitches. Very interesting. So great composers do this. They don't put anything in there that they can't connect to the main part of the piece. Okay, so stems up, by the way, right hand. Okay, stick to that all the way through this. It's very clear. Stems down, left hand. So the left hand starting in measure 15 is this. And that all comes from measure 7 through 10. It's reminiscent. Remember that A flat we talked about in the last episode? They weren't quite sure how to relate that to. I don't know that I have a whole lot more information of why the A flat is there, and perhaps we can still get Stout. I got to work on that too. That's something else I need to do. But that's all reminiscent of measure 7 through 10, all this stuff. That A flat. So all of that comes from there. So what you want to do is practice each hand by itself until you get comfortable to be able to think of each individually, because they're moving at different speeds. Okay? So practice separate hands, or hands alone, enough until you can put it together. We're going to move on because we're pushing time already. 17, 18, 20 through 25 measures are basically all the same, with the exception of the last note of each measure. So, and there's a few other little things, but they're all essentially the same thing. Built on the same scale that we were just talking about with that A flat. Mostly octatonic minus the A flat. Okay? Let's see. Yeah, so that's also reminiscent of that same measure 7 through 10. 26, beginning in measure 26, those are all the octatonics. Those are reminiscent of measure 6 and measure 12, this stuff. Now, he just revoices it here. Same notes, which is also octatonic. C, E flat, D flat, E, and then messes it up here all the way through. Okay? Now, in measure 28 through 32, all octatonic. You just need to figure out where the lick starts, where it runs and comes up and comes back. That's all octatonic, so we talked about that last time, so he's relating again everything that already came. Measures 26 and 27, that's what we just said, are all octatonic. 34, sorry, the last half of 32 and 33 are all the same motive that we just had before. This octatonic stuff, just revoicing it and restating it. And 34, he goes back to all octatonic as well. Puts it in a different subdivision of 5. And then last but not least, 35 and 37 are the same as 31 and 32. So really there's not a whole lot going on here. It's actually quite a bit easier than the first half of this, as you'll find out. So that's why this is such a bigger chunk, but by relating it to everything he's done and tying it into the compositional process to this point, it's going to be a lot easier for you to remember. So I encourage you to, I went through that really fast, but go through each of those points and make mental notes, mark it in your score, whatever you need to do to connect what you learn to what Stout has composed early in measures 1 through 14. Okay, it's important to keep the 8th note steady throughout all of this. That's very important as well. Maybe next time when we talk about the rest of this, we're almost done with this, folks. We only have about 4 measures left. But we'll get into some of the other things that are here, dynamics, articulation, those sort of things. Okay, so I want to play this for you real quick to end the show. The question, oh, I never thought of a question of the day. Oh boy. Okay, so in the comments, leave questions for us to answer that relate to this. I totally dropped the ball trying to get this done, and I just didn't even come up with a question. So you guys come up with a question. Okay? Answer or ask a question in the comments, and we'll at tumblr.com. I'll leave that link again and take it from there. Okay, so here's what this music sounds like. there, but I hope that helps you guys. Have a great time. Thank you so much for doing this, and we'll catch you next time.